Hello, good evening, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Men's Lounge. Last week we were here, we discussed resolution, okay, and in the end we realized that resolutions are not just a talk shop, but it's a matter of practical planning, where you have a whole year's plan, how you're going to achieve it, and you make efforts to achieve them. There was something that was said last week that was very important. In a football league, all those matches that are played, okay, you play them leading to the end of the season where you have a winner. And so that's what, I mean, you just related to it. The resolution is to end where there will be a winner, and all those matches are preparations towards the end game. Well, today is another bright day that God has given us. We are here to have a very good discussion. Feel free and join us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. WhatsApp, the number is 020-2222-054, and then on the other social media platforms at eTVGhana. At some point in the program also we'll open the phone lines so that you can be part of it. What else can we say? It's been a busy week. We came off the back of some election. There was some stuff happening at the Parliament House. Now the president has started work. Ministers, some are, we are all hearing all the things. We only hope for the best. But what's most important is that COVID is still lurking around the corner, and it's becoming even more dangerous these days. Please, we urge all of you to make sure you obey the protocols. Adhere to all those protocols. They are very important. I'm going to take my first break. When I'm back, I'll introduce my guest, and then we move straight to the point. Today, we are talking finance, and whenever I mention finance, I'm sure you have an idea who is here with me. I'll tell you when I'm back. Stay with us. All right, so welcome back. If you're just joining us, we just got to the Men's Lounge, and we got seated not too long ago. We're about to have some very, very good discussions. Like I said earlier, feel free to join us on all our social media platforms, and especially on WhatsApp. Let your messages start coming, okay? So it's 020-2222-054. So let me remind you of something. Good times and great memories are often formed over good drinks. How often do you consume your favorite beverage? On Tuesday, 19th January 2021, join the exciting on-air launch of the Ghana Beverage Awards 2020. I'm sure you know what that is about. And so tune in to YFM in Accra on Mid-Morning Show, City FM's Brunch in the City, and Happy FM on Epahua Dabeng, and get live updates on this year's Ghana Beverage Awards. Catch it live, everything you need to know about the biggest beverage awards event in Ghana. Don't miss it. Nominations for your favorite beverage open right after the launch. Visit www.GhanaBeverageAwards.com for more details. Ghana Beverage Awards, inspiring excellence in Ghana's beverage industry. When we mention beverages, it's not just anyway, I don't want to go there. So today in the studio, I did mention earlier that whenever I mention finance, you kind of have an idea who is going to be here. He's everybody's favorite, and he's my favorite as well. And so join me, let's welcome Paul Kofi Mante.
Thank you.
To see us introduce you on the stage will be better your mom. With a round of applause, shall we welcome Anyway, Happy New Year.
Many happy returns.
Chalet 2020.
Yeah.
It was such a year.
Yeah.
But as far as you have life, sure
yes.
You know what that means.
Yeah.
God has a lot for you.
God was good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things that comes through all the time is how I saw numbers, people falling, people dying, other countries.
Yeah.
And then the fact that I see myself alive on the 1st January, I'm like, oh wow. I crossed it. I mean, that's the question I asked myself. Wow, I crossed it. I made it.
Yeah.
When I see other people who have made it, I get excited.
Yeah.
That God really has something planned for our lives.
Yeah, and it's not that we are better than the others.
No. I think it's just by some favor that we are alive. Anyway, all thanks be to God. But Akwaba,
sure,
we're
good. We're still pushing on for God and country.
For God and country. Yeah. How was the whole, EDC? And last year, I mean, tell me about it.
It's interesting. I mean, last year was generally a difficult year, but for us at EDC, last year was our best year. I mean, we grew at unprecedented levels.
Isn't it obvious? I think we saw it coming because I mean when I look at people who even ask, they watch some of our old episodes and they ask questions, and people come around to want to ask, okay, can we have Paul's number? Can we have their contact? We're like, oh well, this thing is really
You see, the spirit behind what we are doing is a little different. It's not competition, and people don't get it. It's not competition. It's not revenue. They are byproduct. It's about changing lives. So I have a team that are passionate about how do we reach out to a lot more people. How do we help the ordinary teacher, that nurse in that village, helping villagers? How do we make sure that this nurse is able to secure their future and have a decent retirement, have a decent financial future? So what is driving us has gone beyond profit and loss and competition and all that. It's about making impact, and it's about changing lives.
Obviously making lives better as well.
Making lives better. We're seeing the results, and it's so fulfilling, you know. All
right, so today we are talking finance. Last week I did mention that it's a fresh start of the year, really. What we need to do is to start afresh, like 2020 was. Well, it was okay, but we want more. So we are starting afresh like nothing has happened. And so how do we start? That's when we spoke about the, what do you call well, it will come. The planning that you have to do, okay, where you go to most people go to the churches on the 31st and they talk about their resolution. And so what resolution really meant. Today we want to relate it to financing, obviously to talk about planning for the year, okay, especially when you're coming off such a year that is seen to be so difficult, people losing their jobs and all that. So Paul, today's task isn't too different, but we need to look at it because it's very important. So Paul, 2020 was such a difficult year, right? And people, as we know, a lot of people have lost their jobs, businesses were slow, some even closed down, even schools, some schools have shut down, irrespective of the fact that schools are reopening now, but some schools have even shut down. And I mean, economically, a lot of things came to a standstill. All right, so we need to take a fresh start. How do we start?
Good.
We still cry?
Good. No, we can't cry. Life must continue. I mean, life must continue. So I think it's important that we reflect on our lives, reflect on our finances, and establish where we find ourselves today, so far as finances are concerned. And you can go through a simple exercise, a very simple exercise. You can use pen and paper to do it. If you are good at Excel, you can use Excel to do it. Where you put together all your assets. What do I own? I have a piece of land, I have this investment, I have that. All put together, what is the value? I have everything up to 150,000. Do I have any liabilities? Do I have any loans? Have I borrowed money elsewhere? Let me make a list of that. All put together, it's 100,000. If I need to pay off the loans or the liabilities, what will be left? So 150 minus 100, I'm going to be left with a 50. So you know your level, you establish where you find yourself now, today.
The current situation.
Yes, and I think it's an important exercise a lot of people ignore. It's like traveling. And when we talk about personal finance, it's really a journey you are embarking on. But it's important to know where you are because it helps you to determine what strategies you need. You may find yourself in Takrady and you want to get to Kumasi. Another person may find himself or herself at Nsawam. You are two different places. And so then you are clear that this is where I find myself. This is where I want to get to. What do I do to get there? You may want to drive back to the airport to catch a flight if you can afford it. And in an hour you can make it to Kumasi. Or you may have to go for VIP. Or you may have to hire a bicycle. You will still get to Kumasi. Or you may have to walk. But you need to be clear where you are, and then you can assess the, you can do more like a SWOT analysis of yourself. What are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, among others? What can you do with what you have to be able to get there? And I don't know if I mentioned it on this show. I did that with my wife in the year 2006 when we decided that let's sit down and do some computations. What are the assets? What are the liabilities? And then we were surprised when we got to realize the liabilities were higher than the assets. The liabilities put together. But you know, until we went through that exercise, we were walking in town confidently. I mean, But really, if we sold all our assets, it wasn't going to be enough to pay for the liabilities. But until you go through that exercise, you will not know where you find yourself.
Okay.
I've also gone through that exercise with some clients. And after going through, they are surprised they had so much that they didn't know. So we go through, the person is sitting, oh, I bought some shares some 10 years ago. Let me go and look for the certificate. Goes to look for it. We check the current value in it over 200,000. Says, are you sure about this? Said, yes, it's the current value. Oh, I bought a land here. Can I go and trace it? You know, and so I've gone through that exercise with people. After tracing, they were surprised that they were worth so much. So I think it's important to go through, first of all, an exercise to know where you find yourself so far as finances are concerned. Once you are clear about where you find yourself now we can think into the future. Where do we want to find ourselves? And that could be very subjective depending on the individual's preferences. What is important to one person may not be important to another person.
Yeah.
So you need to be clear what is important to you, and then you plan towards that so far as finances are concerned. But I will say that when you are planning, there are 5 areas that are important to me. I believe that I've touched on them before on this show. One is retirement, old age. Whether you like it or not, you will grow old.
Get there.
In fact, whether you believe it or not, you will grow old. So it's important to plan for that old age so you can have a good old age. I have been blessed to meet people who were deliberate about planning for old age. I mean, you can imagine somebody who is on retirement asking me to come home for a conversation, and he has a simple request. I want to buy 2 brand new cars.
I'll be calling you for the same conversation soon.
I want to buy 2 brand new cars. One Corolla, one Fortuner.
Yeah.
On the same day, and this guy is on retirement, but it did not happen overnight. It required planning. The second area is the area of housing. The third area is our children's education. Once you have children, you plan to give them quality education. The fourth area is giving back, charity, blessing people, putting a smile on the face of somebody who is less privileged, who does not have the opportunity you have. And the fifth area is what I call high life. Also planning to blow time. You make money, you chop some. You plan you also plan to have a good time. So,
exactly.
so we need to know where we find ourselves, and once we know where we find ourselves, we can define these areas where we want to get to. When we are clear where we want to get to, now we need to come back to ask ourselves what do we need to do between where we find ourselves and where we want to get to. And a number of things will come into play there. Yeah.
All right. Before you proceed, so I mean, the part of assessing where you are, your current position in terms of what assets you have and then what the liabilities are. Now, when you're able to put these things together, what do you do at that point? Do you balance off? Do you trade off to just balance off so that you start all over? Or how do you manage both, especially in the case where your liabilities seem to be more than your assets?
Yeah, a good question. So once you know this, one, you know where your net position is, which is good. But number two, you can also drill down within the net position. What constitutes the net position? I'll give you an example. I went through an exercise with a client. By the time we were done, he was worth, I think, about 1.5 million cedis or so, which looked interesting. But when we drilled down, we realized that he wasn't sitting well, because out of that 1.5 million or so, about 1.2 million or thereabout, close to about 90%, was locked up in the house he was living in.
Okay.
And the house you live in does not put food on the table. Anytime you are buying a house or you are building a house, you are either buying for consumption or investment. Investment means that house will generate interest, will generate some returns. You are going to get some rental income on that house. But consumption means you are living in the house. It doesn't put food on the table. If you lose your job, that house will eat you up. You know, so this guy, 1.5 million, if my memory serves me right, but close to 90%, was all in one house he was living in. So we needed to do some realignment, and when it comes to money, you don't handle with emotions. He agreed to move out of his house and rent it out.
Okay.
So he moved out of his house, rented it out. I think we got about $1,500 rental income. He moved into a rented house. He paid $500. So he immediately made $1,000 off his house.
Yeah.
So the first level is we need to know where we find ourselves in terms of aggregate, the total. But beyond that, we need to drill down to find ourselves. Wherever we find ourselves, what constitutes that? Are they income generating asset or non-income generating asset? And at the end of the day, if we want to take finances serious, you want to build a lot more income generating asset. You want to build stuff that brings back money. You know, so we need to know where we find ourselves, and then we drill down to find out what is in it, whatever figure it is, what is in it. Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. But again, I want to go back to the same question. That so, what do you do, especially when you realize that your liabilities seem to be slightly higher or higher than your assets?
So let me, and I mean, I'm not shy to be practical, because
I mean, that's what we need.
Money. Yeah. So when we realized in 2006, we decided that we needed to clean up.
Okay.
We needed to clear the liabilities, at least get to a net zero position, because that was a negative position when the liabilities are higher than the assets. So we started taking steps. What does it take? Who do we owe? When can we clear it? Are we taking additional loans? Are we borrowing more? No, we are, because we want to clear whatever we owe. How much salary are we getting? What is my salary? What is my wife's salary? What else can she do? She was a teacher at that time. What else can she do besides teaching to be able to make some additional income to help us clear it? And by 2008, we had cleared it, come to ground zero. And then we had our projections into the future. We did a projection up to, I think, 2023, at that time in 2008. That in 2023, when I'll be a certain age, we want to get to this level.
Yeah.
And once we set those high long-term targets, we came back to look at our targets for that year. So beginning of every year, we set our targets for the year. So far as finances are concerned, where do we want to get to this year? And when you are clear about that, it influences how you handle finances. Because you see, financial independence, financial freedom is a choice. You either make that choice or not. It doesn't happen by default.
Yeah.
You will not walk into it by accident. It's a choice. And once you make that choice, there are rules of engagement. You can't say I've made a choice, but I want to live my life anyhow. It does not happen. So when you know where you are, you want to clean up, you know where you want to get to. Now you need to make practical, you need to take practical steps. And I can share a number of them with you. For example, you may want to assess your inflows, your income. So this is where I find myself. My net worth is negative, but I want to hit operation 1 million by 2030, by 2025, by 2028. How much do I earn? 700 cedis a month, 1,500 a month, 2,000 a month. Is this income going to help me get there? Yes or no? And the answer for most people will be no. If the answer is no, then we need to ask ourselves questions. What can we do to increase the inflows? What can we do to increase the income? And a number of options will come to mind. One option may be we need to go back to school, build capacity to earn more.
Yeah.
Another option may be I need to do something in addition to the regular job. And I have said before that your salary must not be equal to your income. Your salary must be one source of income. Your salary it must not be.
There should be other sources.
There should be other sources, multiple streams of income. So now we are clear that this is where we want to get to. This salary cannot get us there. Then we need to ask ourselves questions. What else can we do in addition to what we are doing? And it humbles you. When you come to that realization, you are willing to do things that generally you may think that, oh, this is too low for me.
Because then at that time, obviously, you have been able to define where you are,
where
your
you
current
are
position.
exactly, and you know that the income level at the moment is not going to help me get there.
Where the plan idea is.
Exactly. It may mean that after daytime I would have to convert my car into Uber at night and drive.
Which people are doing lately anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I called for Uber the other day, and the guy spoke very good English, so I decided to engage him. Now, surprised, he had a master's degree. He works in one of the big organizations. He was on leave, and he was using that time to do something on the side to generate some additional income.
Which is obviously, I mean, what you are talking about, where you need to have extra income.
Exactly.
Your salary should not only be your income. There should be some other sources.
I know a banker who is a DJ. So
I think I know him too.
He does.
If he's not a person, then probably another person.
We will talk. We'll discuss it.
Paul, let me hold you on this one. We'll take our next break. When we're back, we'll take you from there.
Okay, cool.
Please stay with us. All right, so welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are in the men's lounge, and I'm here with Paul. Paul, when it comes to finances, the moment you hear me talk money, it is Paul. Okay? So Paul is here with me, and we're having some good fun discussing what financial resolution, I mean, you can have for the year. I mean, and how you want to plan towards it. And so, Paul, you're back.
Yes. So I was making the point that you need to think about what else you can do to make money. I have a doctor friend who has been following my teachings over the years. You know what? He does photography.
That's very interesting.
Yes. He does photography.
Being a doctor and a photographer.
Exactly.
Wow. Quite different though.
Yes. So once you are clear that, Charlie, the money no go get me there, then you need to think about what else
can get you there.
Can get you there. And that is just on the side of the inflows. We can deal with the outflows as well, because when you talk about finances, you're looking at the ability to save. Savings means deferred consumption, money you haven't spent. But it's not enough to save, because you see, if you have 10,000, you kept it for 5 years, you still have 10,000, but the purchasing power would have gone down. So it's not enough to save. Beyond savings, you need to invest. You need to commit that money to work for you and to generate some returns. And the reason why you're doing this is you want to become financially independent. You want that financial freedom. And the way you'll be able to save is you're either increasing the inflows or you are reducing the outflows, which is the expenses. So
talking about whether increasing or reducing the outflows. Now, there's one thing that comes to mind. What are the biggest hurdles that you're likely to come across when you're trying to have a financial plan, like financial resolution, like the way I put it, for the year? What are some of the hurdles you are likely to come across?
There are a number of them. Let me try to touch on a few. One is procrastination. Procrastination. I'm sure there are people watching us who watch our previous shows who they don't take action yet.
They are waiting.
They are waiting. So as long as you are waiting for tomorrow, tomorrow never comes. So one of the hurdles you need to deal with is procrastination. And the timing is so great. We are doing this early January. So if you add it to your resolution and you act, you pick a form tomorrow to start some investment. Sharp. You put a standing order on your bank account. So if you know you are paid on the 24th, you have a standing order on the 25th or 26th. The money, if they take it out, the rest will not be enough. If they don't take it out, the rest will not be enough. So you better let them take it out. So procrastination is one. Number two is excuses. You can always find an excuse why you cannot start this, and you got to deal with it. And number one excuse for a number of people is the salary is not enough.
It's not enough.
And number three is blame. Immediately you start pointing at others. It's my employer, it's my husband, it's my father, it's my this. it makes it difficult to take responsibility and make sure that you are changing things and you are moving your life towards a certain direction. So you need to deal with the issue of blame. Other people may be helpful to you, but you are the ultimate showstopper. I mean, you are the person who can stop yourself. And then you have to deal with the issue of the impression mentality. One of the biggest challenges for a number of young people is when you want to rub shoulders. People need to know that you know. So there are people who are driving cars who are struggling to buy fuel, but they are driving cars. Once you leave the impression mentality, you try to impress people, you are likely to end up living a lie than a life.
Okay.
So
you try to impress, you live a lie than a life.
Yes. So people see you a certain way, but really the reality is far from how they see you. So you got to deal with the impression mentality where you are not in competition with anybody. You are in competition with yourself. You can look at 2020 and say, I want 2021 to be better than the year 2020. You know, so you got to deal with that. And when you are able to deal with the impression mentality, makes it easier to watch spending habits. You don't buy things when you don't need them. And believe you me, there are simple things we take for granted, and that is where we lose the money. There are homes that lights are left on throughout the day, and that is money going down the drain. I mean, this morning there are a number of homes, you visit them, in their trash you would find some leftover food from the day before, whether it is rice or whatever. It is not leftover food, it is money in the trash. So these are simple things we can take for granted, but that is how we are able to save, and then we are able to invest. And to make it easy, I will recommend my favorite 10-20-70 principle, and learning to pay yourself, where a portion of whatever income you make is for you to keep. Because you work hard, you make that money, but a lot of us end up redistributing that money. So we only make the money, we pay the landlord, we pay the utility bills, we pay for the Uber, we pay for every other thing apart from ourselves. And then we encourage ourselves to wait for the next payday. One of the dangers in life is when you know you'll be paid at the end of the month.
Okay.
Because when you are spending, you spend knowing that in a worst case, another salary will come in. So I say pay yourself and use the 10-20-70 principle. Pay your tithe of 10% if you believe in tithing, or you can use 10% for charity. You can use that to support society. But 20% of whatever income you make must be set aside for your future. That is not for spending. And the 20% is supposed to be the minimum. And I was telling you, this thing has gone beyond revenue and profit. It's a revolution. There was a gentleman in my office at the beginning of the year, I won't be surprised he's watching, who said, look, since I started following your teachings, I've never spent more than 40% of my income.
And that goes into savings.
And that goes into savings. Because it doesn't matter how low you think your income is. Somebody earns less than you.
Of course.
Somebody earns less than you. So minimum 20% must go into savings, into investment. And then the 70% can be for all other things. But also invest all windfalls. A windfall is any money you haven't budgeted to receive, because you would have lived your life without that money. So invest all windfalls. When to me this year, you need to have some targets that by December 2021 you should have built so much in investment. It may be your first 10,000 Ghana cedi. It may be your first 100,000, depending on your income, because you know income levels are different. And targets are different. Let me say this, you can laugh over it, and I'll come back to my issue. So after one of these TV shows, a man called me the next morning that I need to see you today. I'm coming to do financial planning. And I said, oh, my day is already booked. He said, no, because I have some money, I don't want to touch it. I have 1 million cedis to commit for a start. The million cities shook me a little bit, you know. So I went back to look at my calendar and see what I could cancel, and gave him a slot. He came, we had discussions, explained everything, and handed him over to somebody that helped him through the process. And I go come back and ask, how did he go? And the guy goes like, boss, assemble who? I said, assemble no. He said, we finished everything, and I asked the man, are you going to issue a check, or you prefer account details, so you go and do a transfer? The man says the money is in my pocket.
The money is in his pocket?
Yes. It was 100 cedis.
Hold on. no, hold on. So it was 1 million old Ghana cedis.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
But the levels are different, and and I respected him for his passion.
Yeah.
And his insistence that I need to see you. I don't want to touch this money. So for somebody watching us, it may be your first 1,000 Ghana cedis by the end of this year. For another person, it may be your first million Ghana cedis. But you, by all means, need to set some target.
Yeah.
So I feel way there. Don't let me go.
Something has to stay.
Something.
The rest can go, but something
for happen.
So Paul, you know, there are people who definitely lack that discipline. You know, for example, this 70-10-20 rule.
Yeah.
There's definitely some people who would lack that discipline to want to keep to it. How should such a person, you know, try to rise beyond not being disciplined to be able to do that? What should a person do? Should you write it down and try to remind yourself? What should you
document do? One, you need to and I made an important statement that this financial journey is a choice. And once you make the choice, there are rules of engagement. You can't make the choice and say, Charlie, me, I'm not disciplined, so you have to understand. I cannot understand. And money will not understand. So once you make the choice, there are some basic things you need to be able to do. One, documentation is important. Be clear where you want to find yourself. And you see the computation of net worth I was talking about, beyond establishing where you find yourself today, over the years, you know what I do with Linda? We do it every month. So at the end of every month, we have an idea, the progress we are making, where we have what, how it is growing. And it's exciting, brings excitement to you if you can monitor and see that, oh, I started the year at 1,000 cedis. There are people who come to the office and they almost want to pop a champagne because they've made their first 10,000 Ghana cedis. Because they never believe in their lifetime that they will be able to make 10,000 Ghana cedis. So if you are able to document, it makes it easy to monitor the progress you are making. But I recommend strongly that once you set up an investment account, you put a standing order on your account.
Okay, to feed into it.
To feed into it. It makes it easy. So you are paid on a certain day. Don't let the date for the standing order to be too far from the day of salary or the day you are paid. Else you are likely to lose steam along the way, and before you realize, you've dipped your hands into the money and it's gone. So you are paid on the 24th, you put a standing order on like 26th or 27th, so that just in case there is a delay, you still have room. And once the money hits your account, the next day or 2 days later, you have a debit on your account. Standing order, the money is gone. Is gone. You manage with what is left. And also you invest all windfalls. A windfall is any money you haven't budgeted to receive. Because you would have lived your life without that money. And you have not budgeted for the money. So you would have lived your life with or without that money. So when you have a windfall, you invested. You know, there is a law called the Parkinson law. The Parkinson law explains why most people retire poor. The Parkinson law states that no matter how much people earn, they will always adjust their lifestyle to match their salary. So as salary is increasing, people will just keep adjusting lifestyle to match salary. So because I do a lot of public speaking and you engage a number of people, you meet the people who earn less than 1,000 cedis a month, who complain that it's not enough. You also meet the people who earn 40,000 a month,
and they still complain.
Who also complain that it's not enough.
So how much is enough?
There is no amount that will be enough until you learn to be able to save out of whatever comes to you. The pastors will tell you it's like paying of tithes. If you earn 1,000 cedis, you can't pay tithe of 100 cedis. Don't think that if you earn 100,000, you can pay.
But what would even be the reason why you cannot pay 100 out of 1,000? 100 net dosu. Is that the thinking?
Well, it's 100, but you see, it's still 10% of a certain figure.
Well,
you know, it's still 10% of a certain figure. I remember, I think in 2009, when I did an exercise in the church, I asked how many of you are not able to save and invest because you think the salary is not enough. The entire church had hands going up. Then I did a follow-up question. How many of you believe that if your salary is doubled from today, it's going to be enough, and now you can find the money to save and then invest? All the hands go up. And I said, okay, 10 of you, I picked them at random. Step out, let's go through an exercise. I give them pieces of paper. Let me have your current salaries. Among the 10, the lowest income earner is on a salary of 350 cedis a month. This person believes that a double of that is going to be enough, which will be 700. But among the 10, there was one on a salary of 11,000.
Oh, okay.
There was one on a salary of 20,000.
Hey.
And I'm talking practical.
Hold on, and all these people said
yes,
it was not enough.
Yes.
So they couldn't pay the tithes.
They couldn't save and then invest.
Save.
Yes. Okay. So the guy earning 20,000 is saying it's not enough, and the guy earning 350 a month says it's not enough. Because Nana, it's an issue with lifestyle, and it's the reason why it's important for your mind eye to see where you want to get to. When your mind eye sees where you want to get to, it will influence how you handle money. Anytime money comes to you, it will influence how you handle it. If you know that you have told yourself that 2020, by all means, I want to make my first 50,000. My apologies. 2021, I by all means want to make my first 50,000, my first 100,000. When you have some 5K, immediately, psychologically, your mind...
You're fighting some 100K somewhere.
Exactly. It will end up there.
So talking about money, there is a question I want to ask, which has to do with, do we need someone to advise us on how to handle or manage our money? Now, it's a very simple question, but it kind of has a lot of sides. Before you go to it, we're going to go on this break. When we are back, we'll take you from there.
Okay.
Please stay with us. We are still in the studio. We are discussing money matters, and I'm here with Paul Mante. I mean, anytime I mention finances, definitely I'm going to talk about Paul. And so, Paul, before we go, let me take these from our viewers. And this is coming from Xavier from Sugakope. So Xavier says, hi, good evening there. To be honest, I'm really enjoying this program tonight. And this is my first time as well. God bless you, Paul, for the wonderful presentation you are doing. With all humility, please, I need Paul's personal contact. All right, so Xavier will send you a contact, okay? That through that you can reach him. This is also coming from Silvanos Kojo Apia Dankwa from Kaswa. Silvanos says, good evening. Can he propose any investment bank for us? Paul, yes, he proposed the investment bank.
Oh, of course, I mean.
And then somebody also says, I need to start growing my money, but all this are a bit too big for me. Well, I'm sure you've heard us already that there's nothing too small, nothing too big. However small it is, start. However big it is, start. We don't have a choice. Just start. And I'll pull me boy. Well, at this point, the phone lines are open, and the number is 0555 657278. 0555 657278. Let the call start coming through, and keep your messages also coming. Paul is ready to answer them. Paul.
Yeah, so I work with EDC.
Okay.
So
that's in proposition of a
place. Yeah,
bank.
You can.
Okay.
But EDC, even though it's within the EcoBank head office, you can still invest with EDC at any EcoBank branch.
Okay.
You can walk to any EcoBank branch and start. But you see, the gentleman who said all this is too big, you got to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
Because you see, if you don't find a way to make your money work for you while you are asleep, you will keep working when you have to sleep.
Okay. Now you got me thinking, eh?
If you don't find a way to make your money work for you while you are asleep, money working for you while you are asleep, you will keep working when you have to be sleeping.
Okay.
So the gentleman, by all means, you got to start from somewhere. Even if it's 50 cedis, you can afford. I talk about Operation 1 million the other day, and I gave different levels depending on our income. Look at, and when you use 18%, for example, compounded quarterly, somebody who can do 150 cedis every month, within 27 years, they make 1.1 million.
Really?
Yes.
27 years.
Yes. 300 every month within 23 years, 1.1 million. 600 every month within 19 years, 1 million. 1,000 every month within 16 years, 1 million. 3,000 within 11 years. 6,000 within 8 years, 1.2 million. Everybody will find your level somewhere. You got to build little by little. The challenge is most people don't want to hear 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It's one of the challenges we have with our generation.
I think it's because we hear that and we think, say, it's far.
No.
Yeah, I mean, because that's how I see it.
There is an analogy I always use. Look, Nana, we were in this country when President Kufuor became the president in the year 2000. This is 2021.
That's 21 years already.
Exactly.
Okay, so for the 27 years, if you had been doing the 100
you'll be left with some 5 years to go.
In 5 years, you have some 1.1 million sitting. But you see, Paul, I have a situation. The situation here is that, so, you know, the value that's in the value of the money would be the same.
Yes.
And so if I had planned to have a million in 20 years or 25 years.
Yes.
By the time that 25 years comes,
you are right.
It won't be the same. Let me just pick this caller and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Hello, caller. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, my name is Daniel. I'm calling from Korea.
Hi. Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, please. The man, Mr. Paul, I won't sit under his seat lesson at Gimpa, and I bought his book from him. And that day he came with investment plan that is from this thing, EcoBank.
Yeah.
And I did it, but I contribute to a point. When I go back, I was told that I don't have an investment. I tried my best, I couldn't get, so I have to go back and restart again. And I'm looking for his number for advice. I bought the book from him, and I know him personally. He came to give particular and taught us one of our finance class.
Okay. At Gimpa, eh?
Yes, at Gimpa.
Okay.
So if I can get his personal number, then I can get closer for more advice and more direction.
All right. What we will do is that we'll find a way of getting that to you. Or if there's a way he can also put out a contact, he'll put it out before we leave here today.
Yeah. If you can send a WhatsApp to the WhatsApp line,
yeah.
I'll pick your number and call you after the show.
Yeah, so just send us a WhatsApp. The number is 02022222054. Yeah.
I'll take it and send my WhatsApp number to you.
Please.
Yeah,
please
sure.
Yeah.
I'll give you a call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So back to
yes, so the value of the
value
money.
of the money.
You see, but if you don't have the 1 million, your situation will be worse off.
Hey, that's like uppercut.
Exactly. And that would be better.
You're very right.
That would be better than not having
zero.
Than zero. But you see, the challenge with the analysis we just did is that we're also holding the contribution constant for the 20 years or 25 years or whatever.
Okay, so then irrespective of value, we should also consider increasing
exactly.
what we
If we are
There's
increasing, then we can do it in a shorter period.
Then the value can be higher.
Yes. Yeah.
Good evening, caller. Your name and where you are calling from?
Good evening, sir. My name is Elijah, calling from Kumasi.
Hi, let's hear you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much for such a very important discussion. Actually, I didn't come early, so I've been looking on the screen for the topic, but I think it's not been coming there.
Okay.
Can I please get the video on YouTube?
All right, so this is what you can do. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, there's a repeat. You can watch that.
Okay.
And also, you can go back to Facebook and then get it live to watch again. I mean, it will be a recorded one, but you can still get to watch it. But tomorrow at 10 o'clock, you have a live repeated show to watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You know, so if we are increasing, we are escalating,
Yeah.
we'll get a bigger amount. If we're doing this and we are increasing it by 10% every year, you'll be surprised at where we're going to be landing.
True.
You know,
True.
and people need to understand that the financial independence journey is not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Yes, it's a marathon.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a sprint. You take it little by little. It's a marathon, and gradually you will get there. It will not happen overnight, but it is possible.
Yeah.
Little by little, you get there. You discipline yourself. Whatever income that comes, that minimum 20% is going into
Still,
investment.
something must be saved.
Yeah, something must be saved. You see, income, Nana, income is like fruit. Within every fruit, you find food and you find seed. The food is for consumption.
That's the 70.
That is the 70.
And the fruit is the 20.
It's a 20. It's for planting.
I knew you'd say this. So this is coming from well, so I think Daniel has sent his number. I'll let you have it before we leave. And then this is coming from okay, so this program is an eye-opener. I have accommodation. I have accommodated a lot. Interesting man with life-saving wisdom. His name is Paul. Well, his name is Paul as you are. And this is also coming from so somebody says I'm not reading his messages. Well, I'm going to read it now. So where are you? Okay. So, good evening, good job. I am Frank from Takrady. Frank, I'm reading your message now. So, please, as a professional teacher who closes from work at 4 p.m., can you suggest some of the sources of income and the pros and cons of those sources? Paul, I'll get to you. Good evening, caller. Your name and where you're calling from.
My good brother, Michael, I'm calling from Sunyani.
Hi, Michael. Please, let's hear you.
Well, I would say God will receive blessed Brother Paul for what he's saying.
Amen.
Thank you.
I started giving thanksgiving to my boy, Edward in Sunyani, when he was born. And he's now 17 years. So thanksgiving is a month for him in the 17 years now. He's now having, getting to 2,000 Ghana cedis. So I asked my people at my church that can someone give me 2,000 today? And it became a big rule for us in the church. Thanksgiving every month for 17 years now. It's now having over 2,000 Ghana cedis. So what do you say? If we will all listen to this program and begin to cultivate the spirit of saving, you end up somewhere, God willing, in the years ahead of us. God will bless you for such a wonderful program.
Thank you very much for calling us as well. We are grateful. Keep watching the Men's Lounge. We'll bring you more. Paul will be here more often, so keep watching, okay?
Great. Bye-bye.
All right, so Paul.
Yeah.
Look, the number of people asking for your number there. Be like say today look, clear consultancy. Now come to me. Come see me before you see Paul, okay? Because everybody wants the number. Maybe I'll share my number. They should ask me. See, school me, okay? So that when they call, I know what to tell them.
So the other thing I will do towards the end of the program is to possibly share our contact center number.
Yes. I think you should even do it now because
let me pull it.
Okay, so you need to listen to Paul, okay? Because he's going to share the number and just call and ask all the questions, okay? So this is another message coming from Daniel from Kwem Prior. So can you please help me contact Mr. Paul Kofi? Well, so you want to plan your financial future, obviously. He's going to put out some numbers, okay? Make sure you write them down so you can call and make a follow-up on him. Yeah,
so these are the contact center numbers: 0302 634165. I'll repeat it: 0302 634165. Or you can also call 0506 071712. And you can call or send a WhatsApp to this line: 0595 235065. You can send a WhatsApp now. Whatever inquiries you have, somebody will respond to you. 0595 235063. So you can call any of these numbers, and whatever support you need, you'll be provided with that
All right,
support.
so I'm sure you all got those contacts. And this coming from, well, please add your name next time. Good evening, Nana. Well, good evening. Please, I have been following the program and very happy. I have a project, and please, I will need Paul's number. Well, the number is being put out there. For those of you who didn't catch it, tomorrow morning, there will be a repeat of this show at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m. Catch the repeat so you can get all the information that we put out there. The last question, somebody is asking that I have a salary of $450. How do I plan? It should be very brief because we don't have enough time.
20% must go into investment.
So
But
70, 20,
yes,
10.
Yeah, and your income must not be equal to the 450.
All right, so your income must not be equal to the 450, and then the rule is 70, 20, 10. 70 for everything, 20 you can't touch, 10 for your tithe or charity. This is all time will allow us for this evening. We are grateful for you being part of the show. Thank you very much for this evening. Thank you for all those who called, those who send their messages. We are grateful. Those who are watching on online, we are grateful also. And those who will be watching the repeat tomorrow, we are very thankful. Paul, thanks for coming through.
Many thanks to you, Nana.
We'll call you again.
Sure.
Because financial planning there,
Charlie.
all year round, though,
Charlie.
every month.
Charlie.
All right. So one thing that's very important that I will not leave without telling you is that the COVID is still in the corner. It's very important, please. Let's adhere to all the protocols. Let's stay alive. Okay, 2020, we saw what happened. Let it not happen to us. Let's be part of the living just as we are, so that 2022 will be here again to sing hallelujah to the glory of God. We'll see you next week. Stay safe and be blessed.